Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. It is July 14th. It is officially 2 weeks from the first day of our beta launch. So congratulations to everybody who's been here from day one, and congratulations to everybody else who's decided to take this leap and join us. I know some of you are new, and so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ed DeAngelis. I'm your Vice President of Sales and Marketing, and co-hosting today's call with me as usual is Amanda Robertson.
Right.
She's your Senior Director of Operations and Training. So like I said, some of you are new this week, and we're so happy to have you here. And, you know, as we continue daily to reflect on everything that we feel like we've accomplished in such a short period of time, you know, one of the things that I just want to remind everyone that I know that I'm so grateful for, and I know I would speak on behalf of our Hue and Grace team, is just that we're able to start small and build these relationships with each and every one of you and be very thoughtful and deliberate about our growth strategy as we do that. And so building these relationships with you is seriously a big part of that. And we are just so grateful to you and to your time. And this week we will be asking for some of that feedback loop that we talked to you about in the beginning. So part of your role as founding advocates is really to provide us with your thoughts, with your feedback. Oh my gosh, I think we have our youngest advocate on the call.
I just got really distracted by Heidi and
oh my gosh,
this beautiful baby.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I just heard
no.
about the meeting yesterday, so he's going to be here with me. This is my son, Leonard.
Perfect.
Oh, well, hi. He's our youngest advocate. I'm so excited. And so for those of you who aren't able to join us live, you may be listening to the playback, and that's fantastic. We're so thrilled to have you as well. So before we get started into today's topic, which is products, and I've heard from so many of you that you're really excited to do a deeper dive into products, we are going to, of course, do a little bit of recognition. We always like to, you know, bring real life to everything that you guys are doing, especially since we don't have the opportunity yet to actually be together in person. So first and foremost, I would love to recognize Jamie Savarin for her awesome Instagram story. So wonderful. It was so cool to see, you know, you tie your personal brand in with Hue and Grace and talk about, you know, your new baby that's on the way and your family. And we really loved that. And we had many of you also share on Instagram. Per usual, if you tag us, we will repost your stories into our stories. It's a great way to help build your followership and also be able to share your experiences with our followers as well. Also want to congratulate Kelly Kaufman on her very first order. She had an order come through last week, and I know, Kelly, this is your first time doing anything like this, so we were so excited to see you take your first order and get your business launched. Many of you have also started to dive right into the Hue and Grace Knowledge Center. And for those of you who don't know what that is, not to worry, you can access your Knowledge Center through the Advocate portal. And that is where you'll find all of the training information. So right now we have basic foundational training there on how to get started and the products and a few other items. And we're going to continue to add to that content. But for now, we've got Tracy Olhausen, Cynthia DeFore, Gina Estes, and Chelsea Martin, all with 275 points in the Knowledge Center. And so right now, when you're in the Knowledge Center and you are taking each training block, you'll start to earn points. Now, the points are really cool because you earn badges and you get acknowledged for what you've been doing. But here's a little fun tip. Down the line, you will be able to trade in those points for some very fun things. So that's something that we are working on as well. So you want to rack up those points so you can use them later on. And then lastly, we have our very first advocate with an elite member sign up. So Emma Hackett, great job signing up an elite member. That's super, super exciting. And what that means is that she's got a customer who is now going to be a regular customer and receive special discounts on her products and bring Emma some residual income, which is fantastic. So great job, everybody. Honestly, I wanted to recognize every single one of you because you all did something really wonderful over the past week. But every week, you know, we will be looking at your activity and giving out shout outs and just congratulating you. And in the meantime, really want to encourage you to leverage the Yammer network to talk to each other about what it is that you guys have been doing. And what's working for you, what you're excited about. You've been doing a great job of leveraging the platform to ask us questions, so please continue to do that. But also please feel free to use it as a network to connect with each other. So Amanda, let's kick it over to some business updates, shall we?
All right. So I've got a couple of business updates. And again, a lot of these came through having some conversations with a lot of you on Yammer, which is becoming another one of my favorite pieces, kind of seeing what's happening and what's working. So a couple of updates. First one is on the cleansing bar. And I know that you posted last week that we were getting very low on inventory and that we actually sold out, which is that bittersweet problem to have. We've got more stock arriving this week. Actually, I think it's landing today. In full transparency, I would not tell your customers that just yet, but I think we've got it landing today. And the orders will be shipped ASAP. But what's important for you to know is that any one of your customers, or even if you placed an order from last Thursday through today that had maybe a serum and oil and the bar, we are partial shipping those orders. So you will get your serum and oil as per the regular schedule. It might have already even shown up. And then we're going to ship that bar separately, just in a regular, probably an envelope. It's not going to come in a full box or anything. We'll just drop that right in the mail as soon as we get those back into our warehouse. So we have notified anybody who placed an order. So if one of those was you probably got an email from Hugh and Grace kind of letting you know. But up through today, you will get the serum and oil, and then the bars will be a fast follow. You might also have noticed that I pulled the full purifying set, which is the set of 3 bars, off of the website, only because then you don't get the partial order. So once we get that, again, hopefully in the next couple of days or so, back into the warehouse, I'll put that back onto the website. But that's the only one we pulled off for now, just because it was 3 bars. So other than that, we should be back in stock, business as usual, hopefully just a couple of days delay on the bar. But if you get questions from your customers, I wanted you guys to have all of the information on why they may have received a partial order and maybe didn't check their email to see that explanation. Okay, next update I have is on welcome emails. So a couple of you had questions right away around if you did enroll a new advocate, or even when you enrolled, was there any kind of confirmation, or did you get an email that gave you information? And there was one at first, but it was kind of some basic language. So we had that turned off for a moment. We took some feedback from some of you. I worked with Tracy on a couple of different items to really make sure that the language on that email was the right language and it was the right information. So happy to say that we have that new welcome email all set up, and those will be turned back on today. So when you do enroll a new advocate, they will get a welcome email that says, welcome to Hugh and Grace. It has some information about the company, and then also has things like their back office, the advocate portal. It's got their login information, all of that personal information that they will need. So look for those welcome emails starting this week. All right, next one is around Pay Quicker. So last week, we actually paid our very first advocate commission, which is wonderful. So exciting. So, and I say our very first, it was just the first full week. So as a reminder, you will receive your personal sales commissions every single week on Friday. So that's a weekly thing. Those are all of your personal sales, your customers. Now, every month, and if you've gone through the training, hopefully you have this in the back of your mind, every month on the 15th, you are paid your monthly bonuses. And those are things like your level bonuses, your generation bonuses, and any other kind of bonuses that we have. So we've got weekly pay and then also monthly pay. So where I'm going with Pay Quicker is, again, we were ready to go, pay this out on Friday, and I pressed the button. And this is all in the transparency theme here. I pressed the button and it didn't process, it didn't go through. So I did a ton of research on Friday, figured out the problem, and actually yesterday morning, it was literally one number that was off kind of in our systems in the back, but we figured it out. The payment was processed very smooth. Again, I actually worked with Tracy coincidentally on this one. She got the email, which was wonderful. And then what will happen is when you get your first commission payout, is it will then prompt you to create an account with Pay Quicker. So I just wanted to reiterate this process. If you haven't earned a commission yet, you don't have to worry about anything with Pay Quicker. Once you get your first commission, it automatically prompts you. You quickly create an account, and then it will issue you your Hugh and Grace card. Again, there's lots of training about that in the Knowledge Center, but it will prompt you once you get a commission. Two other quick reminders on PayQuicker. As a reminder, we have a threshold for commission. So you actually won't get paid until you have earned $20. So if your first sale just happened this week, which is probably for most of you, and say you earned a $10 commission, you probably aren't going to get that email on Friday because you have to get at least $20 before we push that out and you create your account. So if you earned $10 this week as a weekly commission, and then next week you earned another $10, that email is then generated once you have pooled the first $20. Now, subsequent payouts, will be different once you have the account, but I just wanted to set that expectation that if you had your first sale this week and it's less than $20, you aren't going to get that email until you have hit that threshold. And also one just quick last piece that actually has nothing really to do with PayQuicker, but as a reminder, and I remember this is always very important for me when I was selling product, that our cutoff is Pacific time. So I know that this is very new and we're just figuring things out, and in the next couple of months this will become more important, but as some of our founding advocates, you might get this question from people that you are enrolling, and our cutoff is midnight Pacific time. So every week on Sunday night, midnight Pacific time is the cutoff for any sales from the previous week, and then you will earn commission on that week the following Friday. And then for monthly, same thing, last day of the month, whatever day of the week that happens to be, at Pacific time, midnight is the cutoff for monthly when you're looking to, achieve certain levels. So just as a quick reminder, we have a Pacific time clock in our back office.
Before we move on to Knowledge Center, I just want to thank everybody, specifically Tracy, who I know Amanda worked with yesterday, but everybody for your patience as we continue to work through some of these bugs. As you know, that's part of the purpose of us launching in beta with this small hand-selected group that is you guys and the people that you're bringing in. And so we can work these things out before our official launch later this year. And so thank you so much for being the people who pressure test these things with us and your patience as we continue to work through it. It's incredibly helpful.
Yeah, it's very helpful, and it's easy for you guys to take a look, and then also we get maybe some ideas or feedback. So it really does go twofold, and it has been very appreciated and very helpful. And speaking of the Knowledge Center, so I know that we had some recognition, and those of you who have completed lots of the training that we have in the Knowledge Center. But I've also had a lot of questions on Yammer, which is great. It's becoming a really wonderful tool. On sometimes if you go into your advocate portal, you click Knowledge Center and then nothing happens, and it's just a blank screen. So a couple of things are happening there. One was an internal issue that I identified last week. It was just with some of the placement in the back office, but that has been resolved. So every new person that is enrolled will automatically be set up with the Knowledge Center. So that's good news. The other thing, and actually I was working with LaFay. LaFay, I know that you're on the call, on the Knowledge Center is pop-ups. So if you are in your advocate portal and you click Knowledge Center, it actually pops open into a separate window. And the reason we have it designed that way is so that you can toggle between maybe some training, you can look into your back office, because some of the training is around how to use things in your back office. So if you have your pop-up blocker on, whether it's on your computer or even on your phone, you might be getting that blank screen. So check on that. I know I was telling Evie this morning, is it troubleshot with LaFay? Troubleshooted.
Extra points for anyone who knows.
With LaFay yesterday, and she was using her iPhone, so Safari actually had a built-in pop-up blocker, and she had to go in, and there was an app that she worked on and then kind of turned something off. So if you're encountering that issue, regardless of your device, just check your pop-up blocker. Also, I know that I was talking with Kara, and she was on Firefox and it didn't come up. So it might even be the browser, which I am going to continue to look into, because I don't want to have, I don't want it to be limited by browser. So that one I'm going to figure out. But keep those questions coming. I want to make sure that everybody has access to the Knowledge Center. So pop-ups are good, and then we'll work on the browser. But other than that, we've seen some great progress in the Knowledge Center, which is really making me happy, and we've got so much more to come. So those are the business updates, and I saw a question pop in. Let me see if I have it. Oh, there you go. Yep, from Kara, using Chrome, and it was seamless. Perfect. Okay. Cool. All right, so that's what I have. So now that we've got, systems and tools out of the way, again, one of our advocate promises, and especially with you as our founding advocates, is always to make sure we maintain that transparency. So it's important that you have a good understanding of the why things are happening, and then also where you can see that your fingerprints are really part of making all of these things really, really good as we move forward. So I'll pause there, and we're going to move on to our weekly focus. So every week, you know that we have a weekly focus, and this week is going to be product.
Awesome. So, we use the term product expert a lot, and, it can be incredibly daunting. So we don't want you to feel like you have to become a product expert, but we want to be able to equip you with the tools to make you feel as much of an expert as you feel you want to be. And if you feel like, I can't retain this knowledge, we want the tools to be there for you just in time. So when a customer asks you a question, you have them at your fingertips. But having this information also will make you more comfortable in starting the conversation, answering the questions, and we have a handful of tools right now and more tools to come. So as you know, last week we posted our product fact sheets in the Knowledge Center under the resource library. So there's one for each product, and it has an in-depth sheet of what the product is, how it works, why it's different, how to use it, and all of the ingredients and its features and benefits. So this is a really great tool that you can either print out, you can save into whatever system you have on your phone. I know for Apple, it's iBooks. You can save it as a PDF there. You can take a screenshot of it. You can text it to customers. You can keep it on your desktop. You can be like me and just print it out and stick it on the wall in your office, so you're always looking at it. So that's a really great tool. You can also revisit the product training in the Knowledge Center at any time as another tool to help you. So, if you've done it already and gotten the points, that's great. If you haven't, we highly recommend it, but it's always nice to be able to revisit it and walk through it. We also are working on some product videos that are going to be fun, that we're going to be able to share with you, to share with your customers. We're also going to be posting on our social media channels as well. And also, a late ad last week is the full ingredient list for every product is now on the website. And also, is it in the resource library, Amanda? Is that where we put it?
Yes. So yeah. I uploaded it. It's already there in the resource library under Advocate Tools. So you have that already ready to go.
Great. So we are going to move on to the details for each product. So Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit about the face serum?
Yep, sure. So by now, you all know we have a face serum. You're probably all using it, hopefully, by now. And Evie's going to talk a little bit about that user experience in a couple of slides. But, it's really important when you think about Hue and Grace, and we have so much around our story and our mission, but being really comfortable with the product is probably the best way to start some of your conversations. So you can't do enough. And like Evie said, we've got the product fact sheets or one-pagers that are in the back office. You could always, excuse me, not the back office, in your advocate portal in the Knowledge Center. But really having an understanding of the product is one of the best ways to feel comfortable when talking about something that's relatively new. So we have our Restoring Face Serum, and I think you know all of the basics by now. You've probably taken the training, you've seen the fact sheets, you've been on the website, you've been using it. But looking at some of the key ingredients, you can see it's a ton of our oils. We've got our vitamin C, and like Evie mentioned, it's also on our website now with that full list of ingredients. If you haven't taken a look at that, I highly suggest you do so right after this call, because what you will find, and maybe even compare it to some other products that you have at home. I was looking through it and I was like, wow, it really is just all of these wonderful natural ingredients. So it will be really nice, I think, for you as well as your customers. But one of the nice things about some of our products is the other stuff, right? So we've got all of our facts, we have the key ingredients. But some things that are nice conversation starters around the Restoring Face Serum, and you probably have your own. We're going to tap into you for this information, but is the extra, like those extra testimonials. And one of the things that we've heard loud and clear is really after you cleanse and you're going to use this face serum, you can use it before your moisturizer, but it can really seamlessly be incorporated into any other skincare regimen that your customer might have. So, this is not something that is a full-on replace, and we talked about this last week, but you can still use your favorite moisturizer just pop the serum on right before it. And one of the really nice things, and if you've used this, raise your hand if you are having the same experience. Once you put the serum on, you almost don't even feel like you need a moisturizer. There we go. I knew that, Heidi. There you go. It's going to raise your hand. So I put this on. It was the first time I tried it. I put the serum on and I kind of waited. And I was like, I don't even think I need it. I'll be honest. I put a moisturizer on because I'm just conditioned to do the regimen. But now I've been using it and I honestly don't even think I need it. So your customers might even be feeling the same. So this serum can be used day and night, and it's not going to affect, one or the other, and you can complement that with any other products that you currently have. All right, so then,
one of the things also that I love so much about this is, we talk a lot about in skincare, like who is a product for? And we know a lot of products are designed for a very specific type of skin. And this product is designed to be for everyone. And what's wonderful about a face serum that is developed this way is that it can be from dry to combination to oily skin. I have very much combination skin. It is 90 degrees in New York City, and some days the humidity is 95%, which as a California girl native, that's totally bizarre to me. But so my skin fluctuates, throughout the year. And I know that when I started using it, the humidity wasn't that high and I was in a very dry place, and now it's very high and I'm not getting that massive like oiliness that I might get during a normal New York summer. So when you have those conversations with your customers, you can really talk to them about that it is formulated to be able to provide benefits across the board to multiple different kinds of skin types, which is why the oils that we use in the formulas are so gentle yet effective. And that's one of the things that we love about this, and we deliberately design these products to be that way. As Amanda said, you can seamlessly incorporate it into an existing skincare regimen. And also over time, as we start to release more products, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, we'll talk about that later. This can be something once they fall in love with one, then it will be a really easy progression for them to be able to buy something else.
All right, I already had the protecting body oil slide up and it wouldn't go back. So here you go.
I just had to talk about that because I just, I think it's one of the fun things, after spending so much of my career in beauty and skincare, it's nice to be able to have products that really are able to be used by everyone and not just one specific skin type and one specific kind of person. So I'm going to talk about the body oil because it is absolutely my favorite product so far. I use it every time I get out of the shower without fail. I have found that it's really lovely to put on when your skin is still moist because it really helps to lock that moisture in. Your skin is most susceptible to absorption when it is wet or damp, which is one of the reasons that we also created the cleansing bar, but Amanda will talk about that in a minute. But the body oil is super, super hydrating. And I personally love that it makes my skin really soft, but not sticky. Again, especially in this, New York humidity in the summer, the last thing you want is that like icky post hydration sticky feeling on your skin. And I can just throw on my clothes right after I put it on. And a few couple pro tips that I like about this is I always like to massage any excess oil into like my cuticles. It feels really great. It's made my nails beyond happy. And also this product is not officially designed for this, but I did a little test last week. So I did some research on each of our ingredients and how they impact hair and hair follicles and the hair proteins. And actually every single one of the ingredients in the body oil has really wonderful hair benefits. So Friday night, I had like a little date night with myself and put the body oil bottle in a little bowl of hot water and heated it up, and then did a few pumps in my hands and rubbed it through my hair. And just let it sit for 2 hours, and my hair is incredibly happy and really soft, and it was very, very shiny over the weekend, which is wonderful. So this obviously has some amazing ingredients, but getting back to its original purpose, it's about softening, soothing, and hydrating your skin, but also protecting from environmental stressors and really strengthening your skin. It defends against free radicals, and it really supports your skin barrier while also adding to that hydration. You'll also find that you have like a more even skin tone all over, but the vitamin C really does a great job with brightening, and it has anti-inflammatory properties. Inflammation is touted as the #1 cause of signs of aging. So you would think that it would be the opposite, right? Because you think inflammation and you think swelling, but that's actually not necessarily what's happening. And inflammation has a way of not necessarily always breaking down cells, but breaking down um, how cells plump themselves and appear. And more plump skin always appears younger, and younger skin reflects light better, and a more dull, less bright, more wrinkled skin absorbs light. And so when you hydrate and you brighten and you provide anti-inflammatory properties, you're really boosting your skin's ability to appear more youthful. And so that's not just something you want to do on your face and your neck and your décolletage, but you want to do it everywhere. And that's what's so wonderful about our body oil.
All right, and I will just add one quick piece on that. I was not a body oil user prior to using this one, and so of course I have to try it. I work here, and I love it. I have completely replaced body lotion, but I've also heard some feedback just from some of you that some people did use a body oil before, and that the way this absorbs. So I didn't have a previous experience, but a lot of people are saying, just like you said, it absorbs so nicely you can get dressed right away. Which is one of the most common questions that we get asked. So I love that.
And Amanda's going to talk more about this with the soap, but one of the things that it's important to note on all of our products is that the main ingredient on all three of our products is not water. And if you look at a lot of your existing products, you'll see that the main ingredient in a lot of lotions, a lot of soaps, a lot of serums are either water or are also alcohol. Alcohol dries your skin, and water, it's very hard to say that water is hormone safe because you can't necessarily track the pipes that it comes through. When we do use water in our products, we'll be able to do that because we'll use specific water, but it also doesn't necessarily have all of like the hydrating properties that you would want. And so Amanda, do you want to talk a little bit about why that makes a big difference in the cleansing bar as well?
Yeah, sure. So again, cleansing bar, we've got the key ingredients. Those full ingredients are listed. And one of the questions we get is around why a bar and why not a liquid soap. So again, maybe I'm the exception here, but I was a bar soap user. I have been. I do not use a liquid soap. This one back here, my other half, he is a liquid soap user. And so a lot of people say, why not a liquid soap? Well, not to say that we might not ever have something like that, but a big, something that's really important about our purifying cleansing bar is that if you think about a liquid soap, look at the back, one of those first ingredients is typically water. And we did that. We looked at it at home. And when you think about water, you are then almost paying to ship water. When if you had a bar, you're just using the water that's coming out of the shower that you're already using. A liquid soap typically has more packaging. And so here we've got just the single wrap, so it's less packaging, which really, really goes along with our bigger mission. So that's why we chose the body bar, because it's not made up of so much water. And that's one of our promises in all of our products, is we will not lead with that first ingredient being water. And again, I challenge you to take a look at some of the products that you do have in your home. Maybe not all of them, but it was very enlightening that now I kind of look and I'll pick something up and I see water as that first ingredient. So this is a full body bar. You can use this in the shower. You can put one of these bars at your sink. You can put one in the guest bathroom, in the kitchen. So you can use it just for hand washing, but it is intended to be a full body bar, which is really important, and also one of the common questions that we've been receiving.
And I love Emma Hackett told me yesterday that she wants to have one in every bathroom in the house. It's fantastic, and I think that's great. And it just feels so luxurious. It doesn't dry out, and I think now more than ever, we're all washing our hands more than we ever have before. And so to have that kind of hydrated feeling is really lovely.
I agree. All right, so speaking of products and how to talk about some of our products, we have a super cool new tool. And some of you may have seen this already, and Evie mentioned it, but we have our frequently asked questions. So we have some frequently asked questions that we collected from you as our advocates, from some of our customers, and really a way to help you answer some questions and maybe even start conversations. So these FAQs are available to you in the Knowledge Center, in the Resource Library Advocate Tools right now. It's a 2-pager, you can download it, but we also put these on our website. So we know that as you're starting to have these conversations with customers, they might be asking, why do I care about chemical body load? Or how do I know that it's really clean? Or how does this compare to other products? So we took a collection of those questions and gave you some really good answers. And again, posted them on our website. and full transparency. So any of your potential advocates or your customers can go ahead and take a look at those and maybe get some of their questions answered right there on the site. So this is up and ready to go, and it's ready for you as a tool right now. All right, am I clicking? Okay, so we also know that thinking about the products and the way that you talk about them is super important, and you guys being knowledgeable is one of the key pieces of this big puzzle in sharing our larger mission. But we also know that some of the information that we have, the best parts are coming from you. So Evie's going to talk a little bit about our perception studies.
Yay, I am. So some of you have received your products and have been using them for maybe a little under a week now, and we want to know what you think. So as I mentioned earlier, your role as a founding advocate has been to provide feedback. And so we want to learn, and we want to even feature you when it comes to our products, so customers can hear from real people. We have a few pieces of feedback from some focus groups that we did prior to launching. So that's some of what you see on our website and on this page here. But we want it from you. I mean, you are the closest to the product. You're using it. I mean, you are doing such a great job posting on Instagram, like I said, talking to your communities, posting on Facebook, texting people. We want to hear directly from you to us, so then we can share your quotes out in our marketing materials. And also, when you hear from each other, it will also help you have conversations with your customers. So starting this week, we're going to be asking for your initial feedback. So we will be sending a survey. We'll be posting it on Yammer. And we want to hear about your first experiences with the product. What did you like? What worked really well? What would you like to see more of? Were there any kinds of issues? What do you think about the fragrance, the scent, any of that? So we'll ask a series of questions, and then we'll also leave an open box for you to type in. And then going forward for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be asking detailed questions about your continued use of the product. So what we'd like to ask of you is that you use the products every day or almost every day if you can. And this is called a perception study. So perception studies are different than clinical studies. Clinical studies are done with a group of people whom you do not know, done through a clinical trial facility where they bring focus groups in, they give them very specific instructions and ask them very pointed questions. And they're certified as clinical trials. A perception study is when you do it with a group that perhaps you know, such as you guys, and you ask questions about perception feelings as opposed to clinical results. So clinical results are measurements, whereas perception is, for example, 95% of people felt their skin looked brighter, as opposed to 95% of people showed brighter skin. Very tiny difference, but that's the difference between a clinical study and a perception study. So we're going to be leveraging you all for our perception study. So we'll be asking you questions such as, after 1 week, I felt my skin was softer. And then we'll give you a ranking, and you can go ahead and rank. So this week is more about the initial feedback with your product experience. And then going forward, we'll continue to ask about feedback about the experience, but then ask those very specific questions. So we can start to build those perception studies and start building out additional materials for you to be able to use with your customers as you're making sales. All right, so what is our call to action here? We have a big week ahead because I think you guys have started to ease into what you're doing, and it's time to start making those sales. And that can be a little bit daunting, especially for those of you who haven't done this before, for those of you who are still easing your way into the knowledge. So what we're going to say is reach out to 15 people with a goal of making 5 or more sales. So 15 people equating to 5 or more customers. And Amanda, I think it's really helpful when we share with people the kinds of things that they can say, especially because this is so new and it does require some education. And it can be tough having these conversations, and it can be a little scary talking to people, especially right now when you're not in person with people. So you can send text messages, you can post videos, you can shoot out emails, you can post on Facebook, on Instagram, you can share on LinkedIn. But as you're having these conversations, what are some of the words that we think might be helpful to use when you're talking?
Yeah, and I think, some of these are just in ways that I've talked to people about, things, what I've been working on for the last few months. So these are just some ideas. I'd love to hear if you guys have additional ideas. You can post those into Yammer. But some of the ones that have really connected and that I've heard from some of you that have made an impact is really around Hue and Grace being the first of its kind company. Like, this is it. They are on the precipice of this conversation, which is just getting started. So being the first of its kind is usually a great way to start a conversation about something that's new and exciting, and sometimes gets people to pay attention to what you're saying. You can also talk a little bit about skin resiliency and immunity. I think, and we touched on this in our very first call, that if there was ever a time to talk about skin resiliency and immunity, and Sarah and Ben had this teed up well over a year ago, and it just happened to happen at a time in our world where this is becoming a really top of mind conversation. So our products are designed to boost skin resiliency and immunity, and starting a conversation that way and then going into sort of the mission and our products is a great way to capture somebody's attention in a way that they might want to entertain using some of these products. And then finally, incremental change to reduce chemical body load. So as I was kind of thinking about these words, and to me, working at Hue and Grace, and probably even for you the last couple of weeks, chemical body load is part of my everyday conversation now. I mean, I say it every day, we say it in meetings, but when it wasn't, that was a very new term to me. And I thought, what does this mean? Do I have chemical body load? I didn't really know. I didn't know that it related to me. So, once you start talking about the first of its kind and skin resiliency and immunity and making incremental changes to reduce chemical body load, that's kind of how you can stair-step that conversation. And, part of, something that I talk to people I know about is, we know we can't eliminate all toxins and chemicals from our lives. We are not there yet. Maybe at some point way in the future. But what we can do is make incremental changes to reduce our chemical body load. And that's what we're doing with our products at Hue and Grace. So these are just some ideas. I think you probably have some great ones, and I'd love to hear those. And then, following it up with your experience or your personal connection. And that's one of the things that we found is so unique just with you as our founding advocates, is that everybody is kind of finding where this fits in to their experience and to their life. And so you can fill that in and really make that connection with your customer. And I see a couple of questions and comments, which are great from you guys in the Zoom chat. So if you have any of these additional suggestions or what's working, pop those into Yammer, and I might actually copy a couple of these and drop them in myself. So a great way to reach out to these people, reach out to 15 people, start the conversation, and see what really connects and what's working. All right, there we go. All right, so I know we're just a little bit over on time. We might have to adjust our time on these going forward, but hey, we're practicing, right? So next week on Tuesday, same time, same place, July 21st at 9 a.m., we'll have our other founding advocate call. And next week's topic is going to be on brain science and kind of how to sell. I was just going to say, I'm going to leave it there, and Evie is really going to focus on brain science next week and how that fits into not only our model, but the products that we're selling.
So as you know, I mean, part of what we've set out to do is not just be a product company, but really be a people company and be a company where we can impart knowledge and share knowledge. Ben and Sarah, when they decided to launch this company, it was in part due to the fact that they knew that they couldn't sit on the information that they had learned in their journey, that they knew they needed to help people and share that knowledge. And I have spent a lot of my career studying brain science and influence and how we absorb information and also how we interact with other people and why we do it. And so it becomes a lot easier to make connections and to share with people when you kind of understand that what you do naturally as a human being and it's built into our evolution impacts those behaviors. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about that next week. And until then, I just want to share two more things. Number one, I'm totally putting her on the spot, but we have a new team member who just joined us last week. Langley Crisp is on our call. She's waving, and Langley is our creative development coordinator. So you will be seeing her on these calls. She's a new face, and she's going to be supporting us on all things creative. We're going to be launching a knowledge center. Sorry, not a knowledge center. We're going to be launching a blog called The Source, which is going to be information for you and for your customers. And Langley is going to be spearheading that, which we're really excited about. We're targeting late summer for that launch. So stay tuned for more. And then lastly, I'm thrilled to say that we have our very first press event this week. And having led PR for a couple of different companies. I will say this one is very different for me because it's virtual. Typically, when you have a press event with editors, you bring a bunch of people together for a really lovely breakfast or a luncheon or some kind of event to get everybody in a room so they can touch and feel the products together and hear a presentation. Of course, this one is virtual because that's how things are being done now. But we have some wonderful editors coming to the event. We have Ebony and W coming to the event. We have Elle Magazine and First for Women, Good Housekeeping and Women's Day, Health and Real Simple, Martha Stewart Living, People in Espanol, Shape, also I believe The Knot, Vanity Fair, and Women's Health. And so while this is considered earned media, what that means is that you don't pay for placement, you gift product and you talk to them about the brand and hope that they fall in love with you and write about you. So while we can't guarantee that we will get placement in these publications, these are really, really big names, and they're big names to have coming to our very first press event. So for a brand new company that's as small as we are just over the moon. I would have been over the moon to have these people at a press event at my last company, which was a $680 million company. And so this is incredibly exciting. And all of these things are just little sparks, if you will, that make us feel so good and that light and ignite our fire to be able to put more energy into the business for each of you. And so most likely, if any of these publications write about us, we'll see the publications hitting in the fall, most likely around November. That's how long lead times work with press. It takes a lot of time to get the story and then write it and review it and then get it printed, and these magazines work very far out. But we will keep you posted, and we know that as we start to build more press mentions and more publications and more relationships with editors, you will have additional tools to be able to reach out to customers about, because it's super exciting when you get to see your company's name in these prints. So I think that's it for this week. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to those of you who are listening to the recording and who are tuning in that way. It's so wonderful to see all of your faces for those of you who are on. And thanks for participating in the comments. Heidi, you can check the advocate portal for the calls. And we also post them on Yammer every single week. And so that's where we're going to be putting all of our call information for the time being. I'm just seeing some private messages. I just want to be sure I'm getting everything. Any further questions, please feel free to ping us on Yammer. We hope you guys have a fantastic week. And thanks so much for tuning in.